What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take NFL DFS Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by the GOAT, the true OG, Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds. Paulie, what's happening?
What up, man?
Ain't nothing, man. Here to wrap up. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're here to try to. We may be wrapping up Week 12. Still got some indecisiveness going on with that Ravens game. Sounds like it was pushed back from Tuesday to Wednesday, and now we'll see if they even roll with that shit. But we do have today going down Seahawks, Eagles, Battle of the Birds, East Coast, West Coast. Plenty of narrative for us to talk ourselves into from a team perspective. But I'm ready to rock, man. I love Seattle games. Seattle games are always fun, even when they're low scoring. They're still fun because it usually involves turnovers and all that kind of, groovy shit. How did you do in week 12 Sunday main slate?
All right. I won like $120-ish or so, something like that. Whenever you come out with more than you came in with, that's good. I felt like I should have done better having a lot of Tyreek Hill and Mahomes and, but in the contest I play, you got to be pretty close to perfect. And I didn't have any perfects, but enough to make some money. And, we'll see how tonight goes to close out the week. But, all in all, can't be down on a winning weekend, although very small.
Yeah, same here, man. I profited about $200 and, just feel like it was a wasted week. Like I feel like we were on so much of the right shit. Obviously, you and I weren't really on Derrick Henry. Shout out to Fritz. I know he's a Titan fan, but he was preaching to everybody that they should consider Henry. And Tyreek Hill was something we were all on. Dude. Yeah, I know.
That 2v2 that you texted me Sunday morning, like,
it was haunting.
That's everything.
I know. It was haunting me. But it is what it is. It happens, man. And I think, aside from the Henry move, it was more about landing on, like, I played a lot of Brian Hill. That was obviously a disaster. And like to our credit, like, that could have easily been his score instead of Ito Smith. I think the reason that Ito got it was because they were so far into garbage time. And Ito doesn't really get a chance to play. So I think they were trying to just, let him go out there. But like... Right. I know at the Nation, all of us were really big on Tyreek Hill, who was the slate breaker by far. And that's why I feel like it was wasted, bro. Like, I had Tyreek Hill on every team. I had Patrick Mahomes or Brady on most. And those quarterbacks were in a lot of the winning lineups. And to not come up big, to not, it hurt because we were so right. And there's just one or two things that we whiffed on. And, it stings a little more than others. Like, for me, because I'm very much either win or lose. You this year, this has been the story of the season for you, bro. Like every fucking week, like you're profiting $100, $200, right? But it's not that big pop you're looking for, and it's always like one or two plays off. It's always this, So like, I guess I'm in your field. But the good thing is, overall, I think it's been a really good season for us all together. I see a lot of screenshots in the Slack chats. I know our members are doing well, so. All in all, like pretty positive. I know everyone's looking for that big smash before basketball starts, and we're going to be chasing that shit for sure. But all in all, I have to say, man, coming out Thanksgiving, we feel thankful and shit. I'm definitely thankful for what we have here at the Nation, all the members, all the people that watch us on YouTube and Twitch and hit the like button because it helps us out and shit. We appreciate y'all. And, and we're going to continue to do that dirty. And hopefully we put it all together this week, man. $200 is nice, but I'm looking for that 50 grand, 100 grand, million. I'm looking for something big, real big. You know what I'm saying? With that said, you still have a couple days, Nation. If you haven't already, take advantage of the Black Friday sale for the NBA Pass. I think it's up till December 2nd, so you got to go up there and get it. You'll get for $69.99 for the full NBA season. That's Slack chat with literally everything, the cheat sheets, the articles, everything we got. So make sure you take advantage of that. Price goes up as of the 3rd. And without further ado, Paulie, it is time. It is time to jump up in here. Real quick, I'm gonna do some shout outs though, because there's a lot of good vibes in the chat. So I'm gonna give some shout outs. Matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up the chat so that the Nation could see. Oh yeah, no, I forgot to do something, so I'll have to pull it up after. But shout out to MG, congrats again on the marriage. Tim Sweeney, what it do? Tony A, any bets tonight? We'll get to that. Tylon, this is a name we don't see a lot. Tylon says, thanks for all you guys do. Your content is so valuable to all DFS players. Much appreciated, bro. And that's why we do it, to help people like you out, to help people Given the kind of guidance that we wish we would have had when we first started playing before we wasted thousands of dollars figuring shit out, if you will. So we appreciate you, Stephen B. I see you, man. Roddy Pope, man, it's a long time dude right there. He's been with us for a long time. So it's always good. I'm going to get the chat pulled up in a second. I just have to switch the links. But in the meantime, we've got a 49.5 total. This total has dropped from 53. The Eagles are currently 6.5 point favorites underdogs at home. 6.5 at home, underdogs. This line opened up at 5.5. Paulie, talk to me about your macro view of the game as a whole while I set up this chat feature.
Yeah, I don't have a great feel for like high scoring, low scoring. I think the instinct is it should be high scoring, but the Eagles have been bad at doing that, and Seattle looks to have slowed down a little bit of late. And so I think we see a close game here. I don't think the Eagles are going to play as bad as they have. It's like long break. They're the home underdog. I think they'll actually show up. I think they've always played Seattle kind of tough. I'm thinking Eagles in a close game. Maybe Seattle wins, but Eagles cover. We do like a little low scoring kind of game. Not like low, but under 49.5, which is, that's not very low. 24-21, something like that, 2017. I don't think it shoots completely out. I think the Eagles are in a strange situation where, if Wentz struggles, they may go to a lot of Jalen Hurts, and that would certainly slow the game down a lot. They take a lot of sacks. They may try to run the ball. Seattle may try to run the ball a bit more today with Carson coming back. So I think there's a lot of potential to slow the game down. So I'd say Eagles in a close, slower pace game.
It should be a good one, right? We know Seattle's offense has been good, but their defense has been atrocious. And Philly, along with the rest of the NFC East, is just completely unpredictable. At this point, the whole NFC East, you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get that day. You just have no idea. So we'll get into it. We're gonna start off with the Seattle side first. Paulie, give me a breakdown of the Seattle Seahawks today.
Yeah, with Seattle, the big question is which receiver do you pair with Russ? Whichever one you decide on, or Russ is the favorite for captains. It's just reliable. It's how they score. It's the strength of the Eagles D is stopping the run. They've been vulnerable to the pass. So making that decision between Lockett and DK, I think DK's matchup proof, but does have the much harder matchup in this situation. So I would assume that, I think DK will be more popular, but I think they'll be fairly close. I would assume that they're pretty close in ownership because the analysis people will probably end up on Lockett, and the talent people will end up on DK. Pair it up. I think Carson's an interesting wrinkle. Him being back, how much does he play? Does a guy like Carson Hyde get enough run to be viable? That's all kind of up in the air. I do think this is not the spot for a Carson return, where it would work out, so I'm not really that into the run game. Although Philly has been getting run on a little bit lately, I still think that ultimately that's their strength, and, you're going to beat them with the pass. At tight end, what's his name is out on IR.
Olsen.
Olsen, yeah, it, Olsen. So Will Disley's the guy that I like. He seems to be the guy with the nose for the end zone. Maybe Hauser gets a little more targets, but I'm going to play a tight end. It'd be Will Disley. Now, I do like him as that cheap last piece into, a Seattle stack or whatever you want to call it. Down with the kicker. Not really into the defense.
Yeah, I think Russ is going to be someone that I want to figure out a way to get. If I don't have Russ on a team, I will have Carson on that team. I'm not saying that you can't play Wilson and Carson together. You certainly can. But if I don't have Wilson on the squad, then I'm definitely going to have Carson. I just think that the Seattle offense should be able to move the ball. I agree with Paulie that I think it'll be through the air. I like Lockett and Metcalf both. So those, the passing game of Seattle is what I'm going to kind of core up, I guess. I do think that the price on Carson was kind of interesting at 8,800 or whatever. I just think he's going to get like, kind of lost in the shuffle. But I do prefer Metcalf and Lockett. And to be honest with you, we have Lockett projected a little bit like slightly higher. But I actually do like DK Metcalf. I think, like you said, a lot of people will look and just, Darius Slay, all this. I agree with you, though. I think DK Metcalf, to a degree, is matchup proof. And I think that we see Russ kind of spread it out a little bit. The tight end situation for a punt, definitely on the table with Hollister and who's the other guy? Fuck.
With this,
Will Dissly, yes. I think I prefer Hollister. If I'm going to go with one, I just want the one that's cheaper. Not interested in the defense either. Kicker always on the table, absolutely. And now we'll talk about the Philly side, Paulie.
yeah, and this is where things get different. Yeah, get different. It's how does Wentz play? Does the fact that the coach came out and said that Hurts is going to have a bigger role. He's going to take, the quarterback one snaps in practice. How does that impact him? They haven't been able to protect him all season. That's, been for sure. So it's, what do you think happens there? And that's tough. Tough to project. I think you kind of you go with whichever Seattle receiver and Russ, and then you just kind of play the skill position players without the quarterback on Philly. Like if you were making one $100 lineup or something, I think that would be my approach. You know what I mean? Like in MME, I think Hurts is kind of interesting. I think he's going to get the rock on the goal line and trick plays and that kind of stuff. So he may have opportunity to score well. You could potentially put them both into a lineup and be contrarian, like in large field stuff, all that, is in play. It's till one game slate. That's how you get different. That's, stuff to get creative with. But if I was building one, main lineup, $100, whatever the fuck, I think I would just not play the Philly quarterback and just go with the skilled players. Like Miles Sanders, the obvious one, but just like a Rager or, Fulgham, whoever you like. Goddard, I think, is in play. The kicker, you could play Philly's defense, I think. But I just think I'd stay away from the quarterback, except in MME. And in MME, they're fine, but I don't know. Unless one does horribly and the other comes in and does really well, I don't see how they don't kind of take away from each other. And it makes it just I don't know if either one is a bargain at their prices at this point.
Yeah, I think the Wentz thing is kind of scary. It sucks too because this is a matchup where you could see Wentz actually doing well, right? He's got a little bit of a more healthy receiving core. He's got Goddard back. Seattle's been terrible, and I don't think they're going to get any better.
Yeah,
but it's scary, man. The Jalen Hurts thing is real, and they've been giving him first team reps, and they're talking about when he comes in, he may come in for 2 or 3 plays at a time. And if Wentz does shit the bed, there's a risk that he comes in permanently if he's performing better. I think that could lower the ownership on Wentz for players that do know what's going on. I think there's a lot of players that have no idea this is even a thing and they'll play him anyway. But obviously attacking Seattle with the pass game is ideal. Now maybe you can just do that with getting exposure to the receivers. I will say that of the running backs, I heavily favor Miles Sanders. And even that has been a little subject to risk because Boston Scott and Corey Clement have been playing. We saw them have games last week. But Miles Sanders has been one of the closest things to a bell cow that we've seen this year outside of a Dalvin Cook and a few players like that. So against Seattle, a team that I know is worse against the pass, but playing a running back that can catch passes and does get utilized a lot out of the backfield in past plays. I do like Sanders quite a bit. The receiver stuff is kind of fucked, right? Alshon Jeffrey is 1,600, but he's playing 2 or 3 snaps a game. He's playing very little. At some point, you expect that to change, but when is that going to happen? I just don't know. I think Dallas Goedert is going to be one of the more popular plays. It makes sense. Good matchup. He's cheap relative to some of the other guys that have that kind of upside. Fulgham looks like he's in a great spot, but again, I worry a little bit about how Alshon Jeffrey's going to affect the mix. I still like Fulgham and Rieger the most, I think, out of the value plays. I know Rieger's one of their young guys, so they're going to try to get him some work, and they've been leaning on him more. We did just get news irrelevantly to David Moore is active, so I know he was potentially going to be out, which is why I didn't really talk much about him. But David Moore is going to be active for Seattle, so I'll kind of leave it at that. But I'm interested in the kicker. I also think Richard Rodgers as a punt is kind of interesting if you're not playing Goddard and trying to get a little bit different. But really only if you need the value. I mean, I wouldn't try to get Goddard if you can. Let's talk about captains, Paulie. Who are your top 3 captains today?
DK. DK, Russ. I mean, DK, Lockett, and I'll take Jalen Reagor.
I like that. Yeah, I'll go Russ, DK Metcalf as well, and I'll go Miles Sanders as the third. I like it like that. Tim Sweetie says the Hurts news is fake. He was getting a rise out of the reporters. It's possible. Listen, I still think Wentz is going to play like 80% of the snaps. I don't think Rager's going to have that much of an impact. It's a matter of, like Paulie said, where does he have an impact? If it's going to happen every time they get on the fucking goal line or every time they're on the 5-yard line, like that matters more to me than how much he's playing. I know Wentz is going to be the primary quarterback, but that's just the concern. But Tim, I do appreciate you contributing, and I understand. He was. A lot of people were saying that he was only saying that to get a rise out of the reporters, which is possible, right? Like reporters get fucked with all the time because a lot of the time they're dicks. But again, I'm not letting that bother me. If I could fit Wentz in a team, I'm going for it, and I don't plan on playing Reagor. I think Reagor, like Paulie said, it's just like a donkey, like large field type thing. If you have money to burn and teams to burn, but this is probably one of, if not the best matchup that Wentz will have seen, right? So it doesn't get too much better than Seattle outside of like the Jets and the Bengals and those types of teams. I see a couple questions here. I'll start off with Kyle. Kyle says, kicker at the captain. Question.
You can in small field stuff. I don't think it works out, but yes, it's in play.
It's in play simply because, like, even not the kicker, but finding a value play you feel comfortable with in the captain, I understand. Because these guys are expensive and you want to jam as many of them in as you can. So I understand that mentality.
Yeah, you can get, Wentz, Sanders, Russ, and DK into a lineup with the kicker and the captain.
Right.
And like, as long as that kicker also has a big game, like it would almost be like the opposite, like the Philly kicker, so you can get DK, Russ, and lock it into the lineup.
Yeah, and just hope the Eagles just kick field goals all night.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like Falcons this weekend.
Tony A, any value plays that you like?
Yeah, there's a couple. Philly, Richard Rodgers at tight end's been getting targets. He could easily fall into the end zone. And then you got like Greg Ward as a cheap receiver, and Alshon Jeffrey is mega cheap, like 1.6. He got 1 target his first game back, 2 targets his second game back. I could see them using him down on the goal line, only having like 3 targets on the game, but 1 catch for 1 yard and touchdown, and being worthwhile as a value piece. Boston Scott popped 1 2 weeks ago. He's very cheap. Those are the value guys on Philly that I like. And then Seattle, there's not a ton, but I guess like a David Moore or Swain at receiver, and then it's the tight ends really that I think make up the Seattle value, and I prefer Disley.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of my issues. Like, I think Alshon Jeffrey will be popular just because there's not a lot of value plays people like. Like, a lot of times you have guys you could stomach. There's really no one here. Even Richard Rodgers, yeah, he's cheap, but he's not even as cheap as you would like. You're looking for like an 800 or something that's going to do something for you. But it is what it is. This is the slate we're on, so we're going to figure it out. That brings us to the next question from King Paid. Thoughts on Alshon Jeffrey? Is he a trap play?
I don't think so. I mean, if I was making 10 teams, I'd be willing to put him on like 2 or 3.
Yeah, I agree. especially because you need the value. Roddy Pope, favorite captain on FanDuel, where price isn't an issue.
Yeah, on FanDuel, Russ is probably the guy. You know, Russ or DK. I don't see anyone else being the highest raw scoring player on this slate.
Agreed. And this one is from Patio Joe, one of our own. This match just for Paulie. What are you going to? What are your go-to Christmas gifts to get the missus?
I can't say, she's right next to me.
There you go, Joe. Always trying to get somebody in trouble, man.
Yeah, always trying to get me in.
Tony A wants to know, how about Boston Scott? I know you mentioned, but could give him a little.
Yeah, I don't mind him. I prefer Alshon, but I expect him to get a couple carries today. You know, like, especially if they bring in Hurts, like, then you're gonna see like 2-3 running backs in the backfield and all that wildcat type stuff, and Scott will certainly be involved in that. So, yeah, you know, him and Alshon are probably the two best.
Boom.
Value players.
All right, Nation, that's gonna do it for us. We'll just give our bets. We'll do the bet real quick, bets, and then we'll bounce back. Tomorrow there will be a show, first look for week 13, week 13, is it already? Damn. Myself, Patio Joe, first look, late night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. And then on Wednesday, if there is a game, we will do a show for it. Obviously, there's no Thursday night football game this week, but if the game's canceled, then we'll be back on Friday after that. So make sure you stay tuned. Go check out our packages real quick before we get out of here, Paulie. Give me your we'll do the total first, 49.5, over, under.
I'll take the under.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll go under. I mean, I live in Jersey. It's been rainy, nasty all day. It's muddy. It's just got that vibe. It's not cold. Anyway. What about the spread? Seattle is currently 6.5.
Yeah, I'll take Philly.
Yeah, you know, so for anybody that's looking to bet on the game, if you're in a state where it's legal or you just do it dirty anyway, I do think Seattle wins this game, but I'm very concerned about the cover. So if somebody was going to put a gun to my head, I guess I would say Seattle. But realistically, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to be patient like you always. Sometimes it don't work out. Last night I tried to do it. It didn't work out. Green Bay jumped ahead and they just took off with the game. You had no shot at getting Green Bay at a better number. But I'm going to hope the Eagles get the ball first or make a stop. Somehow, man, find a way to put up points. If I can get Seattle at 3 or less, I'm dumping a pretty hefty amount on that. Yeah. So, again, that'll be the bet. I think with the points, I understand, and I'm not interested in the points. But I will be looking to do that live. And if you're looking to, I know what Paulie's going to be doing while I'm doing that. Paulie's going to be hitting them flash drafts. So be ready for that. If you don't know about it, obviously you're not in our Slack chat. Because if you can't be in a Slack chat and not even say you haven't at least heard of it, Paulie's been doing dirties, comma club type shit in these flash drafts. I can't play it. I don't have it where I live. Sucks. But I guess it's not all that bad, right? They just legalized marijuana here. They got fucking free sport. They got legal sports betting. I can't complain to them. We can't have it all up here. But Paulie's got nice fucking weather and flash drafts. So, yeah, all day.
I take yours, though. I'd rather have legal weed than but
all day.
Legal we got.
All day. One last thing here. Why would... Okay, it was just more of a comment. Shout out to King Page. But shout out to y'all, Nation. We appreciate you. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Join me and Paulie D. We'll go over the Listener League results. Give props to the winners. Dissect their lineups. All that shit. That'll be tomorrow night on the First Look Show. For Paulie D, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.